Welcome back. Reporter panel time. Alex Isenstadt, senior political reporter at Axios. Mario Parker, managing editor at Bloomberg. All right, folks, today, wedged between two very important Supreme Court cases, transgender, birthright citizenship, a campaign finance case, which, Alex, is going to be relevant in the midterms. In broad brushstrokes, how?
It matters because what this does is it breaks down the wall between party campaign committees and candidates and makes it easier and cheaper for parties to spend money in coordination with their candidates. And this matters because Republicans have a huge
bigger war chest.
Big war chest. The DNC has literally no money in its bank account right now. It's in debt. Right. So this matters a lot for Republicans. It helps them in an otherwise really tough year because it accentuates their cash advantage.
Previously, they could do this in what was called independent expenditures. But when you coordinate with a candidate, you are closer on message, both for your candidate and against the rival.
Right. And it makes it cheaper for you to
obtain that TV time.
Obtain TV ads.
There you go.
Which can be really expensive, especially when you get to close to campaign season and you're in football season. It gets very expensive around that time.
Very expensive in football season.
It's very expensive.
Mario, you have some new reporting, speaking of the midterms, about some muscle from the campaign 2024 coming back inside the White House by the name of Jason Miller.
Yes, absolutely. President Trump and his team are bringing in Jason Miller and others, allies who have been with the White House or with Trump dating back as far back to 2016.
Jason goes all the way back.
Yeah, all the way back to the 2016 campaign.
So they know Trump, they know his likes, dislikes, his temper, his mood swings. They can sort of ride through all that a little
Yes,
more
absolutely.
easily.
And I mean, they won 2 elections, right? They won a 2016 election. Jason was at the forefront of the 2024 election as well, able to kind of charm the president, if you will, into staying on message.
Yeah, with the president and then helping those in the press office be a little bit more aggressive.
Exactly. We've seen...
That's Jason's style.
Yes, we've seen the White House. Well, 2 things happen, right? We saw the White House and the Trump administration get off to a really offensive start, right, during the first 100 days last year as well. I mean, they were very, very aggressive. We've seen them, at least recently, more on their back foot. Heading into the midterm, someone like Jason can get them back on that front foot, be more on offense.
So one poll does not tell everything anyone might want to know about a given race, but now we have 3 polls in Texas, all with the exact same result from New York Times, Siena, YouGov, and then a separate Siena poll, all have James Tallarico, the Democratic nominee, and Ken Paxton, the Republican nominee, in a dead heat, all within the margin of error. That's a pretty Spartan graphic there, but it gives you the message. What are we looking at, do you think, Alex, in Texas?
So no one can predict exactly what's going to happen in this race. But what we do know, and what Republican operatives will admit, is that because Ken Paxton is the nominee and not John Cornyn, it is going to cost them tens of millions of dollars that they will not have to have otherwise spent in Texas. We know that.
In other words, those 3 polls equal $100 million.
Yes. Yes.
The Republicans are going to have to write checks for.
One has to assume that Republicans are the favorite. It's Texas,
yes, of course.
Right? This is the white whale
by registration and by recent history.
But the reality is, and Republicans will freely admit this, it is going to cost them money, potentially tens of millions of dollars that they would not have otherwise had to have spent.
Meaning money you can't spend in North Carolina, money you can't spend in Ohio, money you can't spend in Maine and elsewhere.
There's limited funds, right? I mean, you've got a lot of races and you got a budget.
Republicans tell me all the time, there's no limit, man. We can raise whatever we want. Mario, do you think anything that happened in this week with the Supreme Court will have a resonant effect in the midterm conversation, or are we all going to be about the Iran war, the economy, and attendant issues?
Well, just because, piggybacking off, what we just spoke about, the fact that the Republican dollar goes a little bit further than it would have otherwise.
That's a big, meaningful Supreme Court decision.
That's huge, right? In a place like Texas, this an expensive market as well. In football season, Cowboys, et cetera, as well. So I think that would be the most resonant issue. But the other side of this, right, the other side of this is as much as Texas is a Republican state and they got the momentum there, you have to think about just the turnout, right? And this goes back to, this is the through line for everything that we spoke about right here, just the turnout. in the election. You got to get people to go out there and vote.
And one interesting thing about this New York Times Siena poll, very quickly, I'll just summarize it before we go to break. James Tallarico, again, the Democratic nominee, up 27% with independents. And if there are disaffected Republicans who supported John Cornyn and are not sold on Ken Paxton, you put those two things together, it could get dicey. Got 10 seconds.
No, it could get really tricky. That's absolutely right. And Democrats feel as though they're able to galvanize their base right now.
You know, Mario, the best way to use your 10 seconds is to say I'm absolutely right. Just
You got it.
Alex Isenstadt, Mario Parker, and get the candy.